rather than a point sample, and you hover it over a sample. Now, you want to look at the info palette, so view, window, info. Okay, that's F8. And that palette will open up here. And if you can see the numbers change. That's the neutral file, so all the RGB numbers are equal. That's a really good clue of neutrality. Right? If all the RGB numbers are the same, it's neutral. However, RGB numbers, as I mentioned, are dependent upon a number of things. Color space, right? If it's Adobe 1998, those RGB numbers are different than if it's sRGB. And they're different again if it's ProPhoto. So the way color management works in photography is you have a source color space, which could be a camera profile or scanner profile. Every device you work with digitally has its own gamut, its own ability to reproduce color. So there's a limit. And your output device has another limitation, its ability to reproduce color. Okay? Your monitor is an output device. It has its own limitations about reproducing color. And that's all called a device space or color space, and it's defined by what's called an ICC profile. That's the International Color Consortium. So I'm getting into color management a bit, but I need you to be aware of some of the fundamentals. Yeah?
What does the L stand for?
I'm getting that. Hang in there. I'll get there. I'm building up. So I want to quickly show you a way to interpret color space if you have a Mac. So what you have is an application under Utilities called Color Sync Utility. You guys aware of this? Some of you are, some of you aren't. Okay, so this is the color space of my Nikon camera. This is the range it can capture. Let's go to my monitor. That's my monitor color space. Yeah, because they're all different, right? So I'm going to hold this for a second. And oh, sorry, that's Adobe 1998. That was my monitor. Apple Pro. Okay, I'm going to hold this for a second. This is Adobe 1998, which is most digital photographers are quite familiar with Adobe 1998. It's a little bit wider gamut than sRGB. But I'm going to look at my monitor as an overlap here. Okay, so if you look at this, what the monitor is.
No, the monitor.
Yeah, the monitor was the one in color. Okay, so what this is telling me, there are colors in Adobe 1998, particularly in the greens, my monitor can't even show me. Okay, so you've got to be aware of that. So how does this software actually move from color space to color space to color space? It uses LAB as a intermediate space. Because if you tried to translate from input device to all the various output devices, you would have way too many crossing over complicated situations. So everything goes from source to lab, and from lab, LAB, to destination. So LAB, L stands for lightness. Okay. And lab space is device independent. It's the largest possible color space. And all other spaces are mapped to it. It was mapped in 1932, by the way, back before digital.